last year, all of you might be knowing, or maybe, I don't know, my earlier speaker has told or not, last year 2011 was International Year of Chemistry, and because of that, me and my colleague visited various schools, and not just lecturing, but apart from lecturing, we have given kind of a demonstration, practical demonstration and all, so that particularly the high school students we had been interacting since last 1 year. Without because we already sort of time and I need to finish things, so we'll start with the title which I have given just before you is Chemistry Connections, Chemical Phenomenon of Everyday Life. Rather, I will not bore much, because to me it was told just before this was a mathematics lecture. So I don't know how much you are interested in mathematics, but let me tell you, chemistry is not a boring subject. Just not because I'm selling chemistry, but just because chemistry is really an interesting subject, which I will prove at the end of this session. Briefly, I want to show you some of the slides. If you have any questions in between also, it's not like at the end of the session you can ask me, you can disturb me in between as well. This is something, when chemistry comes, this flask, 3x flask, those do research, we do lots of things with, glasswares and chemicals. That is what I was telling, chemistry is a central science. In fact, many of the what you called other sciences needs help of chemistry. Whether you take biology or physics or anything, chemistry, because if I ask you in one line what chemistry means, somebody if you want to answer in a humorous way, I will give you one small small story or joke, will tell you the importance of chemistry. This is summer season. Of course, we not feel much hot over here. On the way also was very comfortable journey, so I couldn't. But then all of you know that temperature rises. So four of you can say four professors. One was from mathematics, one was from physics, the other from biochemistry or biology, and the fourth one was of course a chemist. Four professors went for passing their vacation time in this hot summer to what we called Nakhi Lake, which is all of you all of you might have seen. So four of them went there and taking around the Nakhi Lake and all four professors together. Again, I need to remind you, mathematician, physics professor, biology professor, and chemistry professor. Then they thought to take a boat drive. So they hire a boat. All of you know that boat riding is very interesting. So they took hire a boat and set into the boat and was looking here and there. Sometime after that mathematics professor jumped inside the lake, and naturally that four were professors, the other fifth one was a driver of a boat. So he asked that before he jumped, of course, he asked that why you are thinking to jump karke. So he said, okay, I am a mathematician and my job is to determine the volume and other things, area. So let me measure how big is this and what about area and volume and other things. Same second happens with the second turn was for the physics professor. He was interested in density of water and many other things. That's why he also jumped. Third turn was of course that biology professor. He wanted to study the flora and fauna of the beautiful Nakhi Lake, so he also jumped after some time. Now, how many were there initially? 5 of them. 4 professors and 1 driver. How many left now? 2 of them, not 3. Somebody is saying it's 3. No, it's 2 only. Namely this chemistry professor and then remaining the driver. Still they were driving. But the chemistry professor is not jumping. So, the driver having a curiosity, he asked, after only some distance covered, that mathematician is jumping, second one, this fellow physics person also jumping, that lastly biology person also jumping. What makes you not to jump? Why you are not jumping? He said, do you know who I am? So he said, no. How should I know? You are a very learned person, that only I know. He said, you know, I'm a chemist. My subject is a chemistry. And do you know what is the role of a chemistry person? He said, how come I know? I'm very layman. I don't know. So he said, let me tell you, the chemistry persons do only analysis. His job is to do analysis. So that fellow asked, then what analysis you did today? He said, all three are water soluble. This is what, you know, because all of three jumped inside, and that's why they are water soluble. That is what the comment he made after. So that is what I am saying, whether it is a biology or physics or mathematics for sake. This is, you know, in a humorous way I am telling, but then let me tell you, many times, many people comes to me in a faculty of science. We do teach chemistry to specialized subject, those who are having a geology, or sometimes having even a, you know, for sake of teaching to, you know, even geography, where all, you know, chemistry is related. And that's why, you know, maximum subsidiary students we do have in a faculty of science, having chemistry as their, you know, subsidiary subject, which increase, of course, our workload as well. But that is, you know, secondary thing. But we enjoy, you know, teaching chemistry to those who are not, you know, and many of time, at the end of the year, they request me, sir, can we change to, you know, chemistry principal? Of course, due to, you know, other constraint and all of them do not get chemistry. But let me tell you at this juncture that chemistry is really, really an interesting subject. What about this? You know, it's all about, chemistry is all about the science of an elements. All of you know, if I ask you periodic table, you know, starting from hydrogen, helium, you know, boron, carbon, nitrogen, all of you know about. So sometimes when I, you know, recite the periodic table, in fact, you know, one of my colleague has a record in the Limca book to recite, you know, whole periodic table in particular few seconds. So I don't know, I'm not much faster than him, of course, but it's, you know, sometimes students ask that why should we remember about, you know, periodic table and all. Why, you know, when I teach, you know, boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium, or carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead, or nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, and all this group chemistry, sometimes, or when I teach transition elements, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, copper, nickel, zinc, they ask, you know, why to remember this? Because chemistry is all about these elements. Of course, other than carbon, all is what is inorganic chemistry. You might have seen, you know, in the introduction that I need to, you know, teach inorganic chemistry. So the chemistry of carbon is only the organic chemistry. Of course, with carbon we have oxygen, sulfur, nitrogen. These are the three elements mostly. But they are, you know, other than that, carbon is mainly the element which, you know, organic chemistry do covers. All other elements is included in inorganic chemistry. Today, of course, I do not want to bore you on, you know, telling a story about elements or their, you know, all this about, you will read it in the books also. But as I told you in the beginning, I will show you some beautiful slides about how, you know, chemistry is involved in our, you know, day-to-day life. Of course, it do includes much of the organic chemistry, natural product chemistry, and other things. The first compound, you know, organic compound was known to the world was urea, synthesized in a laboratory way back in 1828 by Waller. He was a chemist, you know. In fact, let me tell you, this was the first organic compound is prepared in a laboratory, synthetic compound, you can say. And again, it's not because I'm an inorganic chemist, so I'm telling you, but the urea was prepared by heating what? Yes. What was ammonium cyanate is inorganic compound. So inorganic compound was the first known to the, you know, Waller. He took it, simply heated, and, you know, prepared an organic compound. So this is how the first organic. So sometimes, you know, when organic chemists, you know, do argue with us, we say, you know, you should remember that how urea was prepared, you know. As simple as urea, then if you come to the very complex structure before you, is a structure of vitamin B12, cyanocobalamin. Probably you have heard about, or you might have learned somewhere, is a complex of an cobalt. And you can see how difficult, sugar molecule is also there, then, chlorine ring is there, cobalt is sitting at the center enjoying, octahedral environment around it. And all this, if you see this, you feel like, jealous because, sometimes, one or two people around you, then you feel something very king-like. But when 6 people surrounds you, you feel like, more than a king. So this is that's why I tell, in a coordination geometry, most of the cobalt or copper, when they do surrounded by 6 ligands, they themselves having a crown of 6 ligands on them, they feel, and then you see porphyrin ring or chlorine ring, you see it is like a crown. So that's why I'm saying that we feel sometimes jealous of this metal, because they do enjoy a very good environment around them. So if you see this vitamin B12, this very complex structure, these are the 2 gentlemen, Woodward and Waller, who synthesized this too, and put before us. And that's why many of these structures, let me tell you friends, even today, this is few names in between. When I'm saying, you can just the first one, the first gentleman, Prafulla Chandra Roy. Probably you may be knowing about him because recently 150th birth anniversary of Professor Prafulla Chandra Ray was celebrated. He was very pioneering in the field of chemistry. He started way back in 1924. He started one society, because in those days, when Britishers were ruling at that time, the chemistry particularly, was something to be difficult to study, because they believed that only arts and humanities are left to Indians, and if you want to study whether law or even for science, you need to go to Britain. Even today we do have that slavish mentality that we need to go to UK for doing postdoctoral. And that is how one of the reason, it's not included, but I got 2-3 opportunity to go for a postdoc over there, but I refuse. The reason was, it's not like by staying in India you can do good work, because with probably I don't know, some of speakers might have told you that the opportunity which is now available in India, you are in a very golden era. Because why I am saying this? Because this is the time where maximum opportunity is available in the field of science and technology.